Jordan, does it help to talk to someone?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face. She told me I had a purpose to bring joy and laughter into this world. Is it just me, or are things getting crazier out there?
Break family, how's every single one of you today? Of course, it's a Sunday, May 24, 2020, and you know, like every time, every single weekend, we bring you the best information, something aside of the reviews, something different that we would like to do. Don't forget though, we have AEW Double or Nothing review. We have it in Spanish, in English, and now I have the pleasure, I have the honor to introduce one of the greatest professional wrestling journalists, a referee, and also another member from Canada. You know, we have it from Winnipeg, Manitoba. We have Jordan Garber. How you doing, Jordan? My pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be on, and thank you very much, sir. I've been watching your other episodes, including the one with a friend of mine, Lori Lavis, referee. She's doing great things, and I've been watching some of your other interviews, and I've just been a big fan, man. So it's an honor for me to be on. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so very much, Jordan. Like, the pleasure is ours. So walk me through a little bit about, we're going to be talking about, like I said, like you do a little bit of everything when it comes to professional wrestling. You're a journalist. You also like a referee. So like, how did like this love from professional wrestling start? I know Canada is a big country, beautiful country, but like very immersed in professional wrestling. So how did that start?
Well, it all started pretty much where I never used to watch wrestling on TV, where my mom never let me watch it on TV. However, there is this video game that came out in 2002 by the name of WWE Smackdown Shut Your Mouth. And it ended up being a thing when I was a kid, is all I would do is play that game all day, but I still wasn't allowed to watch wrestling on TV. So until I was allowed to watch wrestling on TV, I would go in my room at like 13. She wouldn't allow it in the house at all for anybody. So I was 13 in my room just trying to sneak on a match, and I would watch like, I don't know, a match to 3 matches a week before just turning it off before being nervous that she'd catch me because I'd get grounded. So eventually they let me watch wrestling, and I think that might have been one of their big mistakes, because ever since then I decided to go to the events and go to the shows, and that's kind of how I got involved and got started.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, like we all had like those little places, like our parents sometimes didn't like what we were watching. My mom was a little bit like that. She didn't like that I love wrestling, but she always let me watch. She always let me watch, but you know, I always got away with that. But so then who did you grow up like who did you like, who you dislike? You know, because it was mainly WWE, right?
Oh, exactly. And I became a WWE fan growing up all the time, obviously. I did watch some TNA because I kind of watched wrestling from the 2006 to 2007 era. That's when I started watching. And now I watch stuff from the 80s and I watch everything, but that's when I first started. So TNA and WWE were my go-tos. And I wasn't really aware that there was an independent wrestling product until 2008 when I saw an advertisement on Facebook when that first came out for Steeltown Pro Wrestling in Selkirk. And then I discovered that there was an indie scene. So it was always TNA and WWE because I never discovered the indie scene until 2 years after watching it. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, well, like for a lot of us, it's like that. For a lot of us, you know, you never know where the wrestlers come. Like, where do they actually become, you know, wrestlers? Where do they learn? Where do they have their first matches? We always think like the main thing is like WWE. Sometimes TNA. Like at that time, actually, TNA happened to be one of the greatest promotions, though. If you will think that, a lot of talent. So that who are like your favorite guys over there?
Guys over there that would stand out. You got to think about Sting's reign there. You know, that made him a top guy, and you know the legacy that he carried previously to joining the company is remarkable. So I'd say like my all-time TNA favorites would be the likes of Sting, Kurt Angle. Another weird one, Tomko. I just like Tomko for some reason. You know, that's like when Batista said in his book, not everyone likes John Cena. Batista liked the Warlord. So like it's different, but that's what I think of that. Like, I don't always like the most popular guy. He's not always my favorite guy.
Yeah, well, that's important because, like, see, that's why you have a variety of guys, and then you know who you get behind them. Not everybody likes, like, the top guys, but, like, you have the middle, like, the mid-card, that, like, some people get behind them, and they still have some kind of fandom. So, in WWE, what were, like, your guys then?
Some of my guys in WWE, you know, of all time after watching tapes would be like Randy Savage and the Ultimate Warrior. I remember watching a tape where it was Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 6, I believe.
Yes, WrestleMania 6.
What a great match, man. That match told such a story.
And I will say that match is in your country. That match is in Canada.
It was in Canada. But they had a match at SummerSlam, too, I think, and it was terrible. But the one at WrestleMania 6 was, like, really, really good. And like, it was great.
And so now, like, Jordan, like, walk me through, like, you become a fan. So, like, what made you to pursue journalism, and then within the journalism, make it into professional wrestling journalism?
So how it began with journalism is I started interviewing the likes of, my first ever interview was a guy named Kamikaze in 2008. So when I first discovered that there is an independent scene and that there are these local shows, what I realized is that I would do interviews. That's what I wanted to do. So since 2008, I did those interviews, and I did that for about 2 years, and then I stopped for about 3 because I had other interests. So for 3 years, I was away from wrestling, and I wasn't a part of it anymore, and I was still really young at the time. But I remember, actually, the first official interview was with Border City Wrestling's Chuck Fader in 2007. So I came back in 2013 because I graduated high school from the broadcasting program, and I didn't have a broadcasting job lined up after, so I decided that I'd pursue something in the wrestling industry and basically take my broadcasting skills to a podcast sort of deal and a journalism perspective. So that's what I've been doing, and most of my articles result in a news headline resulting in interviews with some of the names I interview. So I enjoy doing it. It's a pretty good deal, and I do want to work on my writing a lot more too, because I definitely need some more development on that.
Okay, well, that's awesome though. Like, for example, like what kind of headlines did you make? So walk me through a few examples of your work. Like, what kind of articles have you written, or like what's your style when it comes to writing about wrestling?
Yeah, well, my style is it's no editorial, it's no column or anything. I do an interview. For example, Kalen Croft, we reached 100,000 views on ringsidenews.com, which was really great. I was really happy about that. And how I do that is I'm not going to give all my secrets away, but I do contact all the websites with an article with basically a synopsis of what happened during the show and the podcast. And it goes on those sites. And those are the kind of articles I write. I'll also write opinion pieces once in a while, but it's just mostly resulting around that. The only reason I think in a way I add journalism to my name is because I do those articles. If I didn't do those articles, I wouldn't be a wrestling journalist. I'm doing that because I'm saying that because I'm getting the coverage as a journalist would. So I'm really grateful for that, and I'm looking forward to the adjustment, and I do plan on going to school for journalism as well in the near future to expand on different things like hockey, baseball, soccer, or whatever. So I think wrestling's a great start for a broadcasting career, and I think that a broadcasting career could be a great start in wrestling. It's any way you look at it.
Oh yeah, no, professional wrestling, see, they give you like a variety of avenues that you can just follow and other doors will open. So yeah, absolutely great on that. I really like that. You even have some articles on eWrestling News. Is actually a page that I follow a lot. So that kudos on that. So like, tell me what is the piece that you are so like proud the most? What is the piece that you've written that like gave you like the most success so far?
So far, we have Maria Canales in 2015 when I made my debut on the VOC Nation. That was a really good interview. It got a lot of press, and it was the first time I seen my name on a major wrestling news site. So it felt really good to me. Like, it was a good feeling. It felt like it was a feeling of accomplishment. And then, honestly, there's been some other good ones. Was like the likes of Santino Marella, Mr. Kennedy, who I interviewed in Wisconsin, Joe Quinn Wild, who's in NXT now. It's kind of just cool to go on the road with the wrestlers too and watch them work and then interview like the big names at the same time. Like I feel like I'm a fan with an exclusive free pass here. I feel
Oh yeah, like that, because for example, to be able to interview them, to be able to go on the road with them. So like how is that for you? Like for example, like you said you feel it with some kind of perks like as a fan, but like do you have to keep certain kind of code? Do you have to like, be quiet about certain things, or you just
you do.
Oh yeah, like you're not allowed to say whatever happens in certain spots, right?
Well, it depends on the scenario. You can joke around and things like that, but no, you can't say the wrong thing still. I might be a fan, but I still am a journalist, and I still have a job to do to provide my form of entertainment to a viewing audience, and that's my long-term goal, is that I want to make sure that I'm keeping people around the world entertained and keeping fans around the world entertained. That's what I do it for. I want to be another source of news, and I want to be a good one. So that's another goal for the future.
Absolutely great. So now you tell me, well, you have the journalistic piece right there, and like I said, I think that like you're doing a good job on that. A lot of articles, you already have the chance to like interview a lot of wrestlers. So now walk me through, like, now you're also a referee. How did that start?
That started in 2015 in November, and that was for High Impact Wrestling. That was in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and the first match I ever refereed was none other than Tony Cage versus Ace Rivera. And I did terrible. Did the worst job ever. But it was such a learning experience, and it felt good to actually live my dream and step inside a wrestling ring, because I dreamed of that. And to do it in Saskatchewan was kind of interesting because it's out of town. I've never gone there again. It was a very, very rare scenario, and I'm glad that I went and I was able to take a full advantage of it.
That's pretty good. So like, did you train for that, or was just like a thing that like, hey, go there and do and try to be a ref? How did that came about? Walk me through that whole scenario, please.
Like, the whole refereeing thing started when I was at McDonald's. I did an overnight shift, and I was still doing podcasts full time at that moment. I was a podcaster. I wasn't doing any work inside of the ring. I was doing what I was doing now, and strictly that, because I wasn't getting booked anywhere. I wasn't trained until HIW literally needed me. They threw me in there, and basically a lot of that has resulted throughout the years refereeing of some training before the shows, refereeing-wise, some crasher courses as well, 20 minutes before, an hour before, and they didn't even they said they'd give me a crasher course, and I didn't get it. I stepped in there, I didn't know anything. I didn't even watch that much wrestling then, too. So I went to my boss, and I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to Saskatoon. I'm not going to come in tonight. And I got written up, and I went to Saskatoon, and I did it. I think refereeing, I've improved a lot, and I think that I can't wait to step back in there and prove to an audience that I know it's not a job to pay attention to a referee, but I want to show everyone how much I improved.
Well, if you think about it, the referee has like a pretty important role
in
a wrestling match. Like
they can make or break a good match.
Yes, and that's what I mean. You have a big responsibility there. So, like, what are you doing right now to like prepare yourself to improve? Like, what are you doing to like be that referee, to be in the next level?
Well, what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to get in good fitness shape. I'm trying to build strength, but I'm not trying to get a muscular build. I'm trying to get like a swimmer's build. That way I can, move around more, have better endurance, better stamina. And honestly, that's hard to do when you smoke a lot of cigarettes. Not all day, but, when you go home from work, you have a hoot, you have a cigarette, and that's so bad. Like one or the other, right? I have to do both, so that's bad for my lungs. So I feel like that's a very big concern, but that's something I'm trying to do. I'm trying to cut back on smoking, so hopefully it all comes to full effect, and it's baby steps, one at a time.
Oh yeah, no. And then, for example, do you look up to like any referee in particular? Do you follow any refs right now in either WWE, AEW? For example, see Audrey Edwards is pretty popular right now, and she's doing a great job on AEW, main eventing every single pay-per-view.
She's great. No, absolutely. Yeah, a few favorite refs that I have. I like Jimmy Caderas. He's messaged me before. He's always given some great advice, great feedback. Mickey J. Henson, I interviewed him. He was a really good referee as well. Alex Benson's a good indie ref. He's in Minnesota. He's in the Minnesota area, travels around. He's a very good independent wrestling referee. Had some tryouts for Ring of Honor, and he's my age, so good for him.
That's good. Yeah, that's absolutely great. And see, for
example, my all-time favorite, I found it. Sorry, Nick Patrick. Nick Patrick's kind of my all-time favorites. Big influence on why I wanted to be a ref too. After that show.
Oh well, yeah, like WCW, like especially he did a transition with WWE, and they had the alliance, the storyline, and he played heel ref. Yeah, pretty good stuff. Then he became a SmackDown referee. That's a great. I would say a great mentor. Even like he was the WCW version of like Errol Hebner used to be. So, yeah. What kind of advice like did they give you? For example, you said that you like interviewed with like a few reps. What kind of advice did they tell you? Like what can give you that opportunity to be a better referee?
Just work on your body, situational awareness, psychology, sending messages, knowing signals, and just knowing footwork. It's all about like basically being a ref. You pick a corner to stand in, and you kind of get out of the way. If you're out of the wrestler's way, you're doing your job well. If you keep getting in their way, or they keep telling you things, then you're not. They're guiding you, which is okay. Everyone's learning, and I have that happen to me sometimes to this day. I'm not the greatest ref, but I work hard, and I'm willing to learn more and admit failure to achieve success. I think that's what it's all about.
Well, like if you work hard for something, if you have a dream, you keep working hard. That dream, I have news for you. It will become a reality. So, what is your style as a ref, though? I know you're like brand new on that, but like, do you have a style and identity? Do you like to be face? Do you like to be heel, or you just like to like stay neutral in the matches?
I'm a very neutral ref right now. I just do face ref or heel ref if I'm told to do that. There's been situations where I've been on the microphone and I disqualified them or I reversed decisions. So I've been in situations where I was a good guy ref and a bad guy ref after the contest. But altogether, I just consider myself a neutral ref. I think the referee should be the authority down the middle, and it should be an even fair fight down the line.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you. So Jordan, talk to me now. Let's backtrack a little bit now. Talk to me about like your take on the current product. What is your favorite promotion? What kind of promotions do you watch? And what do you think is doing? Which one do you think is doing the best job?
There's a lot of great promotions obviously out there. Some that turn out. AEW ended up turning out great. So for major companies, I'm going to say AEW is up there. From the independents, there's a lot of great wrestling down there in West Virginia. There's Power Slam TV where you can watch a lot of wrestling. I've been watching some Beyond Wrestling, some Chikara. I enjoy Chikara a lot. Mike Quackenbush is a great guy. What else? I enjoy IWA Mid-South too. That's always one of my enjoys as well. I like watching old episodes of promotions I refereed for. So PCW, CWE, CWA, MEW, and beyond. Like any of those places, if there's an episode of it, I will be sure to watch it as well. And then just your daily WWE. Try to keep up to date if I can.
Oh yeah, and now tell me through, for example, you told me about this, and these promotions are like great. For example, AEW right now on Double or Nothing. Like, what is your take on that? What did you think? It was good. It could have been better. It was better than Revolution. what are your thoughts on just like what happened yesterday, what we saw yesterday at Double or Nothing?
I thought it was a great show overall. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Obviously, there's some things that were really bizarre and out there, but some of it worked, some of it didn't work. I'd say I love the main event, that ballpark brawl, or Stadium Showdown.
The Stadium Stampede, yes.
Stadium Stampede. Basically, I really enjoyed the main event, and I liked how the Inner Circle had those football uniforms on. It just added a whole new era. You know, that could kick off a modern era. Like, 2020, 20 years ago, we would have thought of flying cars and things like that. This kind of reminds me of it because you never see a wrestling ring in a football field, and then there's a brawl. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Hangman Adam Page, that entrance was amazing.
Oh yeah, no. Well, Hangman is pretty over. Like the fact that like he plays this heel character, or like you don't know if he's a baby or heel, and like that sequence that he had with Omega with the buckshot lariat, and like on Jay Hager, that was absolutely fantastic. What are the points that you will say that like you will change on Double or Nothing? What didn't you like?
Just besides the championship women's match, the other two women's matches. Well, the other women's match with Penelope Ford, I didn't like that match that much. I'm not gonna lie, I just feel like their women's division is really weak right now. People might agree, some people might disagree. And I don't think Nyla Rose is a good wrestler. I'm not trying, and that's nothing to say about, I really like her story, and she works hard, and she's a great person, a great individual. But as a champion, I don't think she's just ready for that yet. I don't like the women's division because it's just centered around someone I don't want to see as champion. So I'm really glad that she lost the belt. She still belongs in AEW, but I feel like on the mid card right now. I just don't think she's the best wrestler in the world, But that besides that match that she had, that match was good. And then the Penelope Ford one wasn't the greatest. The Shawn Spears one, I wasn't a fan of either, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that like if they would have cut that, it would have been fun. We said that in our review. I want to shout out to my co-host Jean-Paul Eck. We both say the same thing. It's like it seemed like a little too long. It was like almost 4 hours. So I would much rather just see like 3, just for me. So like it's not wrestling. Keep watching and watching it. You kind
the opener was a little long.
It seemed a little long. But what's your take on NXT then? Because we always talk about the Wednesday Night Wars. You like NXT better or AEW is better for you in your own opinion?
Well, I feel that NXT is still. I'm a very old school way of thinking when it comes to wrestling. So when I think of NXT, I still think of developmental. Obviously, that's not true, and it's true and it's not true. But NXT has evolved into such a huge thing. So I still watch it. But I don't really think you can compare it with AEW because that's the minor leagues. That's the AAA, and WWE is the major leagues. So I feel like, NXT AEW is like a major promotion as well, too. So wouldn't AEW be higher if that's major promotion and NXT is still the minors, one step below? So that's the way I look at it. So I prefer to watch AEW first. But I do watch NXT after.
Yeah, that's what pretty much we do because for our show we always do review both shows. So we always watch AEW first and then we do NXT. But so now tell me about your goals in the journalistic world. If let's say if AEW or WWE calls you, who are you gonna pick? They give you the exact same contract.
If AEW or WWE contacts me, I would pick AEW. Because it gives me a lot of creative freedom, and it still doesn't give me that feeling of living in fear. That a lot of former WWE guys, or some of my friends, have said that when you go there after the first few weeks, it's like walking on eggshells. You got to be very careful of what you do. And I can just picture myself being an idiot 1 week in, smoking weed, getting a $2,000 fine, and then just using it all up and getting fired. So I feel like AEW is more secure, but dream-wise and fulfilling it, obviously WWE. And I would want to do it in a short amount of time there.
Yeah, and what would be your dream though? As a writer, would you like to be an announcer? Would you like to be part of the commentary team? What do you see yourself in?
I honestly see myself in WWE or AEW one day as a referee or an announcer or a backstage interviewer. I know that I can do any of those three or a ring announcer, one of those four. So I think that's the best option. And I know that that's going to be something I'm aiming for, because if you want to be in this business, you want to aim to be the best. And that's
yes. Justin Roberts is absolutely great on AEW, and he was also like WWE ring announcer, and like the way that he introduces John Moxley and everybody, like you see the passion, you see the intensity, and for sure that could be something that you could be doing. And now, Jordan, what about in the journalistic work? What would you like to do? Would you like to just also be part of the, let's touch a little bit of like something kind of like that not many people touch on. Would you like to be part of that beautiful and amazing creative WWE writing team?
If I was a part of the WWE creative writing team, I have a few choice words for a few of them. Some of them. No, I'm just kidding. I would just be as polite and professional as possible. And that's something I would love to do one day, absolutely. To contribute to a team for a major company is definitely a long-term goal of mine. And I'd be happy to contribute to anything. You need wrestling with a story.
Oh, yeah. And, like, what, for example, like, you will never see yourself in a wrestling, like, a position where you will never like to wrestle? Is that something that you completely wouldn't do?
I do want to wrestle, actually. I am currently moving to London, Ontario in December to train with Tyson Dukes at the Wrestling Factory. That's the goal. I've been in contact with him, and I have a job that I'm able to work from home, and then I'm going to be finding a second job there. So it's definitely a goal to happen by the end of the year, is to be going to London, Ontario, and begin training full-time to be a pro wrestler. The 7 months here in Winnipeg right now is just to work out, have fun, and learn and grow and be as bigger as I can in a short amount of time, and just have fun, man. Enjoy every day.
Yeah, and see, for example, have you had the chance to interview like these wrestlers, like great figures that are from Canada? Have you had the chance to like talk to Chris Jericho, Bret Hart?
Well, that's a really great question to ask. I actually worked with Bret Hart's brother Bruce in 2014 on Heartbeat Radio. And it was about a year we worked together, which was really cool. That was really fun, and I met Chris Jericho a few times. Actually, Chris Jericho is the first person I ever met in pro wrestling.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, can you walk me through that memory, please?
Absolutely, I can. Shout out to my mom. I love her very much, and she is a beautiful woman. And she was very nice enough to take me to this book signing at McNally Robinson in Grant Park. And Chris Jericho was signing there, and it was a really long lineup. But my mom worked hard all day. She always does that to put food on the table. It's so grateful to have a mom like that. And you don't realize that until you look back. Chris Jericho was signing books at McNally Robinson. It was a long lineup, and I actually met his dad in the lineup too. In the long lineup, his dad was signing one of the pages of the book too as a surprise. His dad played for the New York Rangers. So I went up to Chris Jericho. I met him. This is the first wrestler I ever met. My mom took a picture of me and him. And it was a really nice thing, because what happened was in 2007, he returned on Raw. Do you remember that? Save Us 222 thing?
Yep. That was a rivalry with Randy Orton.
Yeah, exactly. That was the rivalry with Orton. So basically, he came back 2 weeks after I met him. I think it was like a week or 2 weeks after. And then I was just hooked with wrestling after that, man. I was like amazed. It's like, I just saw this guy. This guy was really cool to me and chill to me. We talked for like 5 minutes, man. He talked to everybody for 5 minutes, and it was a lineup. What a class act. If I was a pro athlete, if I was a famous person, like, I would not want to have 5-minute conversations with 1,000 people. I'd have 5-minute conversations with 10, 20 people, but I wouldn't have it with 1 million. But Chris Jericho just put his fans first, man, and I got to give him respect for that. And it's because of him and Jeff Hardy, from watching his matches, it just made me want to be in this business, and I'm really glad I am in it.
Oh, that's awesome. Like, and you said that you were with like Bret Hart's like brother. How would you're still keeping contact? Was that a good relationship for you? Like, what advice did they give you?
Working for Bruce Hart, I worked for Bret Hart's brother Bruce, and when I did, it was for Heartbeat Radio, and that was such a fun program. because we got to talk to some great wrestling journalists as well. We talked to some wrestlers too, like Cue Ball Carmichael, just some old school, gritty, rough and tough vets. And it was great to have those guys on the show and just learn so much. And what Bruce kind of just taught me was voice inflection, you know, positioning my questions better, knowing what to ask. He helped me out a lot. He helped guide me along. And I give credit too to Bob Johnson, because he helped me out too. He'd call me and he'd give me advice. And, you know, they were a really big connection for me. They landed me other opportunities on podcasts. And, you know, thanks to them, that's probably how I got into refereeing anyways.
Oh, so that was pretty much the stepping stone then for you. So that's
Pretty
great.
much. Well, because
that's
that
great.
happened the year after, I feel. So if I worked for Bruce Hart in 2014, I made my referee debut in 2015 after just podcasting with Bruce. It comes to show my passion was just inflicted enough to follow through with it and want to actually break into the business and be in the ring.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So now, just walk me through, like, you know, the Jordan outside of like wrestling. What kind of like stuff you like, Jordan? What are your hobbies? What are you into? You know, what are you? You know, what's after wrestling for you?
Well, to be honest here, with after wrestling, I really enjoy like playing video games. Hanging out with friends are another good one. I am a party guy, unfortunately. I'm one of those rowdy people that, you know, the neighbors probably call a noise complaint on once in a while. I maybe get a little wild, but I do like to have a party with my friends, enjoy. I drink. That's not really a hobby, but, you know, I party and I drink at parties.
Mm-hmm.
And in the cannabis, too. In Canada, you can legally grow some plants, so I've always been considering that option. And just in terms of writing, I've been writing just some other stuff, just some short skits. I've been doing some movies, not movies, but like short films and trailers with my friend who's a video producer, very well talented, educated. He's been filming my wrestling promos, but we've just been doing some non-wrestling projects. So I really enjoy doing that as well. But mainly here, I have my studio where I do my room too, but I have my soundproof walls for shows. And this is around. So I just basically, if I'm not doing a show, I just kind of hang out with my friends here and crack open some beers, tell some stories, and watch a show or something. It's a very boring life I kind of have sometimes, but I just want to be with my friends and family, and to me, that's most important.
Oh yeah, that's the most important thing. But like, hopefully soon, like, this pandemic is over, so we can finally, you know, like, go back to our lives. So if you don't mind me asking, like, well, how's the situation over there in Canada?
The situation, it's getting a lot better. In Winnipeg, we had one confirmed case. The last 3 days ago, we only had one confirmed case, and there wasn't any cases for almost 2 weeks now. So I just hope that everybody can put a foot forward and hope. And if we all work together, we can stop the spread of this, and everything can just go back to normal. That's
That's the main goal. That's the main goal. And now I'm going to ask you, because I know that to a journalist like you, what do you think is like, what's the importance of social media? You know, because we know what happened with, you know, Hannah.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
So, like, you know, what would you say to, you know, the people that, you know, like to spread hate on the social media world? What would you be your advice for wrestlers, for people that are getting into, like, you've been in a lot of podcasts, so you've been doing this since you were pretty young, so you've had to develop your own, like, another skin, another layer to be able to put up with, like, people that don't like you, people that they call you names, things like that. What would you say, you know, from your perspective?
You know, I say at the end of the day, if you show any sign of weakness, people are going to walk all over you in this world. You need to learn how to stand up for yourself. You need to stay strong, and you got to put up or shut up, because in this world, it's a really, really cruel world sometimes, and people will walk all over you if you're not ready. So you just gotta. That's just some of my upcoming goals too. Is just continuing to learn, grow, and develop. But you know, respect's a good thing too, and it's within moderation. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. So now, Jordan, this is the time that I give you the floor for you to say hi to everybody of your friends. You can shout out, like, anybody that you look up to, that, like, they help you out in your career. Anybody, the floor is yours. And also, this is where you plugged in or your social media so they can follow you. So right now, sir, the floor belongs to you. Promo time.
All right. Well, there was something you didn't mention about actually the Tony Condello Northern Death Tour. And that is something that I did do in February. It is an infamous tour that is done for 15 shows in a 3-week, like a 2 or 3 week period. And I did that in February. And that Chris Jericho, Rhino, and Christian did this tour. So doing that in February helped me so much as a ref. And currently I ref the matches in Winnipeg this year because of the pandemic. And just from that one promotion alone, it's 64 matches I refed on the tour. So it's just really cool to like rep that many matches already this year, and I want to give a shout out to Tony Condello for making that happen. He's a great promoter, and if he from someone who's going to bring the likes of Edge, Christian, and Rhino in the business, and now I'm working for him and making him impressed. It makes me feel really good. It makes me feel like I'm doing my job well, and I just want to give a shout out to him. Without him, I would lose a lot of motivation for what I'm doing, but he definitely keeps me motivated. So
That's
shout
awesome.
out to Tony Condello.
That's awesome. Yeah, like, keep going. Whoever, your friends, family, anybody. The floor is yours.
And I got something to show everybody listening. You guys can get the official Jordan Garber trading card. That is out now, too. Be sure to buy that. That is $5. And you can, I will ship them to you as well. I think it's like $2 for shipping. So I do that as well. I'm just trying to come up with some new ideas and some fun ideas. So shout out to all my friends, family who supported me with wrestling. And I just want to keep doing this and keep having fun every day.
That's awesome. And, give us your social media so where they can find you, so they can book you, how we can find you, like social media, so we can like follow you, like keep going, keep seeing your articles and, whatever is going to be your next appearance, refereeing and everything. So right there, floor is yours.
Certainly. You can follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/Jordan Garber Now Podcast. And then you can follow me on Twitter at Jordan J. Garber. And I'm also on Instagram and Snapchat at Jordan J. Garber. So you guys can follow me all on there. And Jordan Garber Now Podcast. This is my baby. I've been working on this show so hard. This is actually the official Jordan Garber Now cards that I showed you guys. This podcast is going to blow up. I'm really excited about it, and you guys can listen to that every Friday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Had episodes since November of 2019. Our first one was with Sim Bodie, where we reached the wrestling press, and we try to aim for that once a month, but the main goal here is to create a product that is family-friendly and fun and entertaining for everybody. And that's what I want to
absolutely
provide.
Awesome. So family, don't forget Fridays, you said 5 o'clock Central.
5 p.m. Central Standard Time.
So Jordan, anything else that you want to say?
I just want to say thank you to guys like you. You continue to put on a really good podcast, and you're spreading the word of this amazing business. And you really have good work, and your video quality and production shows that you put a lot of work in your product. So I want to thank you for your pride and passion for professional wrestling, my brother.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jordan. It's been a pleasure. I wish you the best. I hope that like every single time that you have new news, any new projects, or like you have like more interviews or articles, you're more than welcome to be in the show. Like every time that somebody is in the Robrick family for once, you are a Robrick family member for life. So, I hope that like you're doing absolutely fine over there. Please take care of yourself. Be positive like all of us. Don't forget to wash those hands. And, Robrick family, thank you to every single one of you. Especially right here, Jordan Garber, great Canadian friend of the family right now. So, family, don't forget to check us on the social media world also, like Robrick on Facebook, the original Robrick on YouTube right here on Instagram, and the OG Robrick on Twitter. So, Jordan, thank you again. I hope I can see you pretty soon. We can maybe re-review in a pay-per-view, talking about, what we love. That is professional wrestling. And a shout-out to Lori Lavis. Thank you so very much for her also. So, the only thing I got left to say is going to be...